Hello, Mr. Andris Nelsons. Welcome to the Philharmonie in Berlin. I'm not sure, it has been 3 years ago that you've been with us for your first time. Is it right?
Yes, I think, it's actually 2 years now. It's 2 years since
okay.
I've been first time, and this is my fourth time
Mm-hmm.
today.
How do you feel about it? Has something changed? Does it feel different for you by now?
Well, this is one of the world's best orchestras, and it's extremely, firstly, amazing musical experience to work with the orchestra together, and secondly, this is also a huge responsibility, and I'm very nervous always. It's normal. I'm nervous before every rehearsal with every orchestra, but of course before Berlin Philharmonic it's a special. And this hasn't passed. I'm still nervous. But this is generally, of course, the greatest thing is really to enjoy the concerts and the great music making. What the orchestra does, it's in the way they do. It's the breathing and playing. It's also the physical approach, musical approach. Physically, it's so.
And maybe
amazing,
even
yeah.
like for every musician, without being at least a little bit nervous, it wouldn't be as interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's normal to be nervous and self-doubtful, and it's normal. I think, because otherwise it's easier to live if you are very confident about everything you do and everything in your life. But I think it's like living like the Strauss, the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Put your head into the sand and pretend that everything is fine. It's the same. You have to be with your head open, and so you can see how you can develop and not be happy about everything what happens with you.
But actually, I'm not. I think I played nearly all the concerts that you conducted yet here. But I think it's the first time we do the Tchaikovsky together, isn't it?
The first
Is
time.
there anything? I think you have quite a special reputation about Tchaikovsky and recordings. Am I right?
Well,
there was
yes.
some prizes for recordings. Isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It's one of the composers I love very much, and we have recorded with Birmingham. There are two composers, Richard Strauss and Tchaikovsky. We are recording the whole cycle with Birmingham Symphony Orchestra. So that's a composer which is very familiar. And
was that then a kind of a special wish you had, that you thought that if you come back to Berlin that you would like to do Tchaikovsky with us here?
No.
I think there was already the Tchaikovsky program planned with Ozawa, and you stepped in. Was it a kind of attraction for you, especially to get this program?
Yes, I mean, I always wanted to do also Tchaikovsky with the orchestra, because I have done Shostakovich, Richard Strauss, Brahms, and other pieces, and the one composer I wanted really to do as well is Tchaikovsky, and I'm very happy I can do this time. I'm very sorry for Maestro Ozawa, but I'm sure he will recover soon, and then he will
Maybe I hope so, yeah.
he will be back in health. But of course, I'm very happy that I can do Tchaikovsky with the orchestra, because it's one of the composers I love very much, and I'm very lucky that I had Strauss and Brahms and now Tchaikovsky with this
But
orchestra.
that leads to a question. What is for you, maybe it's a stupid question, but what is for you special with Tchaikovsky? Can you explain what makes special, or for you a personal approach to Tchaikovsky?
I think the Tchaikovsky is one of these composers where it's a lot of tradition in a good sense, and a lot of tradition on maybe not so good sense, that the tradition of playing and the ritenutos and animatos and rubatos, where it is traditionally done. But I personally think it's at the end it's a very classical music, because I think you can see such an influence from Mozart, for example, to Tchaikovsky. For Russian composer, for his time, he was not Russian enough. Russians thought, well, he's not Russian enough, emotional enough, like Rachmaninoff, for example, which is all he was quite classical, quite clear in his form, and quite European. So I think, therefore, I think my personal feeling is this two feelings. One is that I think this music is so semplice feeling. It's not artificial. It's not, showing yourself.
A lot of heart.
It's a lot of heart and a lot of very intimate. It's Tchaikovsky himself, and he was quite, quite nervous person, quite emotional, but also not artificial, not arrogant or not showy. He was not that kind of person, and also his music, I think, is not. Sometimes people see it that way, and they want to bring this showy and this honey with sugar, as I say. But it's
to make
only
it very
sugar.
elegant,
it's not honey.
Very
too.
So
it's more classical and more dramatic.
I think I realized something of that in our rehearsals, that you asked especially the brass for being not too elegant in the finale.
Yeah, I think
in a way it's to show also the edges of the piece and not make it only
beautiful. Yeah, because this music very much provocates the last one, for example, to have a nice march. Team ta ta tam ta ta tam, and it's all happy. But I think this is a dramatism. It is team ta ta tam ta ta, dramatic major, and this is for brass. Ta ta tam. This is a edgy. It is a victory of evil for me. The last movement. This major is a very dramatic major, and therefore I think the first movement is a nice, of course, sound. It's full sound, and second movement is so lyrical and so passionate. Third movement is chamber music and ballet music and so elegant, like Johann Strauss. And fourth movement is this, I think almost Shostakovich, early Shostakovich. I mean, in a way,
some Russian moments in it, or what people expect to be Russian.
Not too nice, and it's really for me. I might be wrong, but this is my feeling about this symphony. So it actually is a dramatic symphony. It starts with the fade, ta 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 ta, and ends with the same, but just in a major. But it's still dramatic.
I think I read somewhere something that there is have been comments on the piece, and that people try to put it in a kind of a dramatic, give it a dramatic explanation. And there was written something in the end as a victory of the fate.
Yes.
Or something like this. What is that?
Yes.
What you mean with
I think so. Victory of the fate, and the fate always reminds, like Beethoven, pa 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 pa. It is just different way, ta 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 ta, and this pa 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 pa. It goes through the way, and it is victory of fate. You can't, as a human beings, we can't change the fate as much as we want. Second movement, we try to change the fate. We remember all the beautiful things in life, and we hope that it always could be so beautiful and always could be so great. And third movement, we almost forget that the life is so tough sometimes. And then there comes the fourth movement, and it kills everything, and it's a victory of death and the faith, I think, to me.
I like very much the idea of, could you say, to present the different layers maybe of Tchaikovsky's personality. That we just don't do this one beautiful round thing that sounds beautiful and makes everyone happy, but to show this change and this different aspects of the character maybe as well, of the sense for beauty, and then also some kind of desperation or something.
Yeah.
Is that maybe a possible bridge to the Mahler Lieder?
Yes, I think it's very much what Mahler does, even more extreme. He is fighting with the faith all the time, and the faith is always winning. And
actually, he's never doing anything else then.
Anything else. It's just always Trauermarsch. It's always death, always.
Yes, if you read the text of the Lieder, one is about the death soldier marching on after death with his drum, and the three angels singing in the Singen drei Engel, and so on. Everything is all the time is someone dying or has been dying or is already dead, or
Yes, I mean Mahler. He's of course obsessed about this. He can't accept death. He can't accept death. I mean, maybe in his ninth symphony, he's accepting death and he's trying to find a way where it leads, where the death leads. After death, something should come, and of course. But here, I think this is still the earlier second, third, fourth symphony, where it's so much about the destiny, about the death. It is, but the thing comparing to Tchaikovsky is that Mahler is very ironic and he's grotesque about that. He's challenging death. He's
making fun of
it and pretending sometimes it's fine. So it's sometimes so it's humor and it's sarcasm and irony, which is present in Mahler, and of course in all these songs there is so much of that. So he wants to fight with death and he wants to challenge the death. So no, you're not going to win, and so we have this. It's like presenting the portrait of death, but he's laughing and he's challenging death. I always think, and of course there in the meantime there is so great movements of elegance and of this Viennese and Austrian kind of sweet
and
music, elegant.
He doesn't have this death aspect be the last thing to happen in the music. I think it's always some, or he tries to have something after in the story after the death. Or
yes.
Maybe is it similar? I think in the fifth symphony of Tchaikovsky we end in quite bright E major. Mm-hmm. Is it also maybe something like that after this fate and acceptance of fate and and after accepting that you cannot get out of the game of fate, that you have in the end this kind of bright hope maybe or something like that?
Yes, I mean it's a very interesting question how we think about it. For example, end of Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony, because it ends in major, of course, and but I still think that the fate wins. That is to me, because the ending, tam, 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 this is in, I won. So even it's a desperation. Ta 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 ta. From one hand, it's trying to escape, but then we have the trombones playing. Down, down, down,
that's me.
Down. You're playing, and this is like destroying. So I think this is the winning of the fate. Even if it's a major, it's not. I think there is not much hope for me in this symphony. There is even. Then he composes Sixth Symphony, which starts with a so depressive. If you take it as a positive symphony, Mahler 5 finishes, I think, with a hope. Mahler 5 and Mahler 4, this heavenly dreams about child and of the heaven, and it's somehow there is a lot of hope. It's more hope for Mahler's music about the future than in Tchaikovsky's. To me, there is more. Maybe because he looks through the irony and through humor, he can see more what happens after death, because he pretends or he hides it with the irony and humor, the reality, and then he sees this. Of course, in this case, we don't perform because it's Matthias Goerne, who is a fantastic singer, but he's not performing the movement which is before the fourth symphony, last movement, because it's for soprano, it's for almost a boy, child. So,
Knabensopran.
Yeah, Knabensopran. But in the meantime, there are these moments where he is still speaking about the hope, and this hope comes through naiveness and child voice or child's belief, and he, I think, believes that through this naiveness you can be clean and clear, and there is something after death. Okay. It's not so bad. Of course, when we start Sixth Symphony, it destroys again. Promise. And you always, each symphony of Mahler starts almost with except the fourth, and for example, it starts with almost with a death present, and then at the end he's hoping for something, and again each symphony starts again back with a fate victory. So it's both composers are fighting with the fate so much
in their own way.
In their own way, yeah. So there's a big connection, I think, in that sense between Mahler and Tchaikovsky, and generally Russian music and Mahler, I think, as well.
Okay. Yeah, anyhow, it's going to be a very interesting evening. I think so. And I would like to say thank you for our little discussion and presentation of the concert, and I wish you nice concerts the coming week.
Thank you very much. I wish you nice concerts too. Thank you.